Hello YouTubers, it's Wednesday. Let's write a book. Now I have to admit this week I fell behind on my book. I didn't get my 2 pages a day in, so I'm about a page and a half behind, and it is aggravating, but it's not going to stop me. I'm not going to let the fact that I got a little behind make me throw the whole project out, because believe me, that's an easy thing to do, and I've done it plenty of times. Once you've missed a goal for yourself, you suddenly say, pack it up, throw it away, I hate it. No, I do not hate it. I'm having a great time, and writing is about applying yourself over and over again, every day, hit the grindstone, get something out. I took an online course from James Patterson, and it was actually delightful and wonderful, and if you've got the money and the time, by all means do it, because it is full of wonderful affirmations for writers and wonderful lessons that you can take into your writing, no matter what you're writing, no matter what type of book you're writing. But one of the things that stuck out to me was he said, we're writing stories, not sentences. We're writing stories, not sentences. That really stood out to me, because I think as writers, we oftentimes get hooked on the idea of constructing that perfect sentence, of making that analogy or metaphor and really driving something home. I actually live a good deal of my life trying to work analogies and metaphors into everyday conversation, because I'm kind of a freak that way. So it's refreshing to think that when you're writing, when you sit down to write, it's about getting that story out. And in rewrites, you can go back and pepper it up all you want, but this initial push, that initial draft, has to be more about getting your story onto the page, getting it out of you and onto your computer screen or your typewriter or your pen and pencil. So how do we do it? How do we determine that what's in our head is fit for page? Well, one of the easiest ways is to just do it. Just let it pour out of you. Just sit there and write. And you can do this without direction, without knowledge, without outlines, without anything. We'll call it an exercise, but what it really is it's finding a tone of voice, a way to write. And of course, accomplished writers, they know their writer's voice. They know what they're doing. So this is just really out there for people who are like, I can't write a book. The truth is, of course you can. Everyone can. Can you write a great book? I don't know. Even some of the most lauded authors of all time wrote some stinkers. There's a couple of Shakespeare plays out there that I consider pretty bad. So don't weigh yourself down with the quality of your book. Weigh yourself down with the importance of your storytelling. Get the story out there. Put it on the page. Now, I just introduced the very thinnest version of the antagonist of my story. And as I'm crafting this character, I began to realize that when you make a villain, your temptation is to build the biggest and the baddest, the most evil, so that your hero will look that much better for overcoming this villain. Your hero is only as strong as the villain they defeat. But here's the thing. I don't believe that villainous people wake up in the morning and say, time to do some evil. Time to go out and do bad things. I think most people that we would consider to be villainous had in their mind that they were doing the greatest good they could, that they were very righteous in their actions, that they felt the obligation of their life was to do this thing that other people found to be evil. Now, of course, I am sure that there are plenty of characters and people out there who are titillated by the idea of evil, and that is a whole interesting faction, because then you're dealing with somebody who is doing an evil act, but not because they are evil, but because they're infatuated with the idea of evil, which is a different thing than being evil. See, being evil is so difficult to actually achieve because it's flat. If something's just evil, so what? That person is evil, go against him, fight him. But if that person believes themselves to be good, measures themselves in a world of injustices that they see, then you have a complex character. Then you're dealing with something that, in order to overcome them, your conviction has to be stronger than theirs. My favorite villains are villains who are not wrong, who are motivated by something grander and larger than themselves, and in the end, they're undone because they are crushed by their ambition for whatever it is they want done. You see it time and time again. One of my favorite examples of this is Prince Naradu, I think that's his name, in Hellboy 2. In Hellboy 2, the villain to me was motivated by more than spite and anger and hatred. He was motivated by more than simple, I am a bad guy motivation. He had a point, and his point was not incorrect. And even his tactic made sense, but it stood in direct opposition to the common good, at least the side that we saw. And it stood in opposition to our hero's obligations. When you're writing your story and you're thinking of who's standing in the way of your hero, keep in mind that it doesn't have to be an opposition. It can just be a crossroads. A character who is almost exactly like our hero just took the other road. So be thinking about your villains, be thinking about your antagonists, be thinking about what gets in the way of your heroes. And if you have any interesting stories about your heroes, villains, and other knots, comment below. Thank you.